Okay, I'm Clara. I'm joining in from Bariloche, Argentina. That's Patagonia down south. I'm the community lead at Behold Retreats. I'm one of the humans behind the newsletters you might have received or some social media posts. And I work very closely also with our alumni community. Some of you are with us today, so a special hi to all of them. Together with me, we have the beautiful Andra. She is our marketing guru and is here to support us today with some tech, some questions, and anything we need on the tech side. So that's on intro and housekeeping. And first, I want to start saying that at Behold Retreats, we like to see healing as a whole journey, right? Not just one single moment of transformation, right? So tonight, we like to see this as a gift to you, to our community, to our alumni, and it reflects something that we truly believe, which is that transformation becomes real when we actually have tools, like real tools that we can bring into our daily life. We like to think that mindfulness is very, very powerful in and of itself. It helps us bring our inner infrastructure, right? The ability to notice what's happening inside, to steady our nervous system, and to meet life with more clarity, compassion, and choice. And for those who feel drawn to it, mindfulness can also be a very beautiful complement to plant medicine, right? For those who are on the path or for those who are actually considering that path. It supports preparation, it supports integration, and the day-to-day embodiment of what you learn along the way. So if it's helpful for you, we're going to be sharing our plant medicine guide as an educational resource for anyone who wants to learn more or orient themselves with a little bit more context. And Andrea's going to put that in the chat for us right now. And so, okay, enough of all this introduction. I'm very, very excited to introduce our guide for tonight, Gopi. Gopi is a mindfulness and leadership trainer who brings the power of awareness and emotional intelligence into modern life and work. He is a former managing director at IDEO, and he holds an MBA from INSEAD. I think I pronounced that correctly. Correct me if I'm wrong, Gopi. Alongside his corporate leadership background, he is also a Zen practitioner who has trained under various Zen teachers, and he was encouraged to teach while he was living at Thich Nhat Hanh's Plum Village Monastery. He is also the author of The Monk in the Corner Office, which was published by Penguin Business, which explores building this inner infrastructure that we were talking about before for a more fulfilling and sustainable life. I had the pleasure of meeting Gopi almost 7 years ago when he was leading Google's Search Inside Yourself mindfulness course in Bangkok. And what I really appreciated and what I love about his teachings is how grounded and how practical it is. It's not abstract. It's not overly complicated. He gives you the tools you can use right away. So without further ado, Gopi, we are so grateful to have you with us. Now I hand it over to you.
Thank you, Andrea. Thank you, Clara. Such a pleasure to be here today. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are. I can see that we've got a lovely collection of people here with us. I just got into India myself, so it's 5:30 a.m. for me this morning. And Clara was a bit worried that it was too early for me, but I'm happy to be here. Really looking forward to this session. Clara had a lot of kind things to say. I think take it with a pinch of salt. I think more than anything, the next hour should really be about being together, being able to experience a little bit of mindfulness together, and then perhaps sharing what comes up for us. I have less than an hour with you, so I'm going to be fairly structured about it. Excuse me for that, and sometimes if it feels a bit too structured, then please pardon me for that. In the interest of time, I'm going to actually keep about maybe 10 to 15 minutes for you all at the end to share and ask questions. So that leaves me with maybe about 40 minutes. And what I'm going to do is actually take you through what life is, not in a theoretical sense with me, talking too much, but actually having us experience pretty much what life does to us, right? So with that, I'm going to just ask you right now to tell me in a word, if you choose to on chat, or just silently, imagine you're speaking with me. How are you feeling right now? I just want you to check in with yourself using one word. How are you feeling right now? Just noticing however you're feeling. There is no right or wrong to this in this moment. So just checking in with how you're feeling right now. You can choose to respond to me silently in your mind. You can put in a word in the chat window. And remember, there's nothing right or wrong. If you're stressed, that's fine. If you're tired, that's fine. If you're excited, that's equally fine. And the invitation to you is to respond to my next question, not on the chat window though this time, but just to yourself. How do you know that you're feeling what you're feeling? Just going inward. How do you know that you're feeling what you're feeling? If you're feeling hopeful, how do you know that you're feeling hopeful? If you're feeling stressed, how do you know that you're feeling stressed? Just taking this opportunity to go inward with your awareness. Is it something in the body? Is it something on your mind? Just using this question as an opportunity to go deeper inward. How do you know that you are feeling what you're feeling? Allowing your sense of awareness to deepen. Now, I'd like you to take your awareness to your body. Start by noticing that you're sitting, noticing your posture. Noticing the contact with the surface beneath you. And just making a silent intention, perhaps, not to get distracted for the next couple of minutes. Take your awareness now to the sounds around you. Could be the sound of my voice, could be any other sounds around you, without judgment. Without wanting anything to change. Just becoming really aware of the sounds around you, becoming alert, like a cat waiting for a mouse. Could be the sound of the air conditioning, or could be the voices outside the room. Without any judgment, just becoming really alert. Expand your awareness now to take in any sensations of smell, or then just start to notice the absence of any smell. Again, without judgment. Take your awareness now to the sensation of taste. Maybe there is a residual taste in your mouth. If not, simply noticing the absence of any particular taste. Now, take your awareness to the sensation of sight. And for many of you, even though your eyes are closed, you would be aware of some patterns or just the darkness. And if your eyes are not closed, then you notice the things around you. And finally, taking your awareness to the sensation of touch. Noticing your hands resting on your legs, perhaps, or on the chair you're on. Noticing the touch of fabric, maybe on your skin. You could even notice the sensation of the cool or warm air on your face. The connection with the surface beneath you, feeling the weight of the body. Right now, you're here. So just allowing yourself to be here completely. Right now, there's nowhere else to be because you've made the choice to be here. So being here completely, allowing the body and the mind to come together. Now take your awareness to your breath and take a deep breath in and exhale, just enjoying the sensation of a deep breath. Another deep inhale and exhale. And one more. Whenever you're ready, just gently and softly opening your eyes and coming back to being here with each other. All right, welcome back, everyone. Magically, I thought we might have a couple of people join in while we were with our eyes closed. So perhaps that's happened. Welcome to everybody again. I'm really happy to be here with you. As I said, we can read all the books about mindfulness and still not experience it. And I thought that the time today would be best spent if we were to experience it in the context of life in itself. I don't know so much about modern or not so modern, but life is pretty complex for all of us today. So wherever you are, there's a sense of volatility, there's a sense of uncertainty. I think they call it the VUCA world in corporate terms: volatile, uncertain, complex, ambiguous. And we know, all of us know what's going on out there. There's a lot of difficult news every day from different directions. So in the context of that kind of a world, how do we use something as simple as our awareness. A mindfulness, you see, is actually a skill that we're all born with. So it's not necessary that you actually have to learn it afresh. You actually relearn it. Right? In a sense, it's a skill that we are sent, like software pre-installed. Right? It's a simple skill of awareness. We tell children, we say, be mindful of your step, be mindful of what you eat, be mindful of your head. You might, knock it somewhere. So being mindful is an inherent human quality that we all have. And it's just that the nature of life, the way the world is, we tend to get distracted. There are so many things coming at us all the time, and they just take us further and further away from who we are. And then, of course, we realize it, and eventually we start to make that trip to go back inwards, because that is where we can really start to find a way of navigating the world that we are in today. I actually, more than anything, I say we live in a heart world, and that's an acronym, not to be taken literally. I think we are hyper connected today. Everything and everybody is connected. There used to be something called the butterfly effect, but I think it's very, very real in our lives today. A small incident that happens somewhere has a ripple effect, and because of the hyper connectedness of things, we all tend to feel the impact of what happens in a much stronger way. The O in heart for me stands for overwhelm, and unfortunately, I think a lot of us do feel overwhelmed. There's just way too much to do, and you're not alone. And the T in heart for me stands for time scarcity. And this is something I hear all the time, wherever I go, whichever part of the world. The time zone doesn't seem to matter. The fact is, everybody has only 24 hours, but constantly I hear, oh my God, I have no time. So you take these three things together, especially the overwhelm and the time scarcity, and it just makes us feel a certain way, right? That we're constantly running out of time. There's, oh my God, so much to do. And then there are all these things constantly coming at us because of the hyper-connectedness of things, right? So in a world like that, what do we do and how do we navigate? Right? Is it possible to change the nature of things? Maybe to some extent, but beyond a point, it's not. The world is the way it is. Many of you would remember COVID. When it happened, there were a lot of people who struggled. But interestingly, the number of people who struggled from COVID anxiety was 4 or 5 times more than the number of people who actually had COVID. So how do we navigate this? There's stuff that happens to us which we can control, very little actually. And there's a lot of stuff that we just cannot control. And how do we navigate this? How does mindfulness help? I have a very simple philosophy, actually, if you will. I often say, life is not what happens to you. And we all mistake life for, oh, what's happening to me? Life feels so difficult. It's so stressful. No, I say life is not what happens to you. I say life is what happens when you respond to what happens to you. Let me give you an example. I just got into India, like I said, barely 36 hours ago. And some parts of India have had some unseasonal rain, right? So there I am waiting after meeting a friend for coffee, and we both booked our Ubers, waiting to head back home. And suddenly there's a shower. Unexpected. We were in a place which didn't offer us, too much shelter. So quick shower, and both of us were drenched. I was like, oh my God, my hair is a mess. Not that there's much right now, but my hair was a mess. My clothes were wet, and I was feeling miserable. My friend, on the other hand, well, she just stepped out and she started dancing in the rain. But like, wow, unexpected summer shower. You see this same place, both of us waiting for our Ubers, same curbside, same rain. My life sucked, and her life was amazing. And what made the difference possible was how each of us responded to what happened to us. Right? So life is not what really happens to us. We tend to think of, fate and destiny and complicate it unnecessarily with all that stuff. But really, really, it boils down to how we respond to what happens to us. And that has the power to make or break the way life feels. I speak about this quite a lot in my writing, in my teaching. Clara used a word, she said inner infrastructure. My next book is actually on the subject. I speak of this actually as the inner operating system. Right? Today, we're in a world where intelligence has become cheap, artificial intelligence. And really, it's this human capacity that's going to make human beings succeed or peak performers in the next few decades. How do we tap into this inner operating system? Let me introduce to you briefly the overall structure, and then I'm going to take you immediately into the next two stages of what we are here for today. Right? If you look at it very, very simply, things happen to us. There is a stimulus. Right? We process it, and we respond. And in our response comes reality. Right? Our reality is shaped by our response. Right? I respond in a certain way. My reality is, oh, life sucks. My friend responds in a certain way, and her reality is, oh, life is incredible. Right? So this is what I call the 3-5-5 model. And it's very simple. Life happens, we process it, we stabilize ourselves, we process it, and we respond. And in the response lies the reality. Right? What we just did when we got together, when I asked you to notice your emotion or however you're feeling, is actually step into this model in a very light way. Right? You started noticing the stimuli. What is actually happening to you? How are you feeling? Right? At one level, noticing is the first step. It starts with awareness. Simple awareness. Are you aware? Right? So noticing is the first step. Then we process, and then we act. Right? So this is the 3-stage. Next comes the process. How do we process? How do we stabilize? What happens before we react? We actually think that we have a stimulus and we react, but no. There is actually a huge gap between what happens and our response. And nobody better than Viktor Frankl, who said this so beautifully, right? Between stimulus and response, there is a gap. And in that gap lies your freedom, lies your power, lies your ability to shape your response. Right? And then life follows. So we go into that gap now. So let's really slow that gap down. And that's really what I want to do with you for the next, say, 15 minutes. I want to really slow that gap down. Because for me, each one of us has the ability to do that. We're all like Neo from the movie Matrix, right? Where Keanu Reeves sees a bullet coming at him, and then he has the ability to stop it or duck, or sometimes turn it around, right? And as you get better at this skill, the interesting thing is you seem to have all the time in the world to do that. That gap just becomes larger and larger. So it's not a split second anymore. You can actually play in that gap. All right. So how do we do this? I'm going to introduce to you a practice that I call SCORE. I call it the SCORE protocol, actually. And again, each one of these alphabets stands for something. Acronyms are useful. They're helpful to remember stuff, right? So we're going to go through now the SCORE protocol. I will tell you what each of these stands for. In a moment, I'm going to guide you through it. Right? Imagine something happens to you, right? You have the stimulus that hits. In using the SCORE protocol, the first thing you're going to do is the S, which stands for stop. Right? So in your head, when something happens to you, the first thing you do is you pause, you stop. How I mean this is not just physically always, because sometimes you can, other times you can't. But in your mind, you can take a little pause. We often feel a compulsion to respond immediately or actually react, not even respond. So the first step of the SCORE protocol is that you stop in here, pause, and you take a deep breath. All right? The C stands for check. Check what? Check where your attention is. Check where your head is right now. Are you in the game or are you somewhere else? Right? So the check is about attention. Stopping is about having awareness to stop. But when you direct that awareness, when you sharpen it, it becomes attention, and you take that attention to what's going on for you. You check. The O stands for observe. You observe. You observe what? You observe what's going on for that person. You observe the setting. You try to take in as many cues as possible. Observe, right? What is being said? What is being meant? What is not being said? Right? Many times you come back home in the evening and your partner looks a bit tired and upset, and you ask them, darling, is something wrong? And then they say, nothing. What does it mean? It means everything, right? So people say things, but they mean something else. And there's a lot that's not said. So the O is observe. So SEO. R stands for reflect, right? And then you reflect, oh my God, this is what I paused. This is what's going on for me. I've scanned myself. I'm observing all of this, right? And I reflect, why would this person be saying or behaving this way? What else could a possible response be that would bring out a really good outcome? I reflect, and then I engage. The E is engage, right? Now, you might think, oh, the next time something hits me, am I going to say, wait, let me go do the SCORE protocol and come back? Obviously not. But the interesting thing is, as you start to practice this becomes your second nature. Slowly but surely, you see that window shrinking, till it becomes a split-second thing. But in your head, you have all the time in the world. There was a time when I used to suffer from road rage. A lot of people don't believe me when I say this. Clara didn't believe me when I met her, and she said, you look so peaceful. I didn't get here overnight. This was this practice. And especially if you drive on the roads of India, there's a lot of opportunity for you to practice. Right? People cut you off. There's tons of traffic. So life gives us plenty of opportunities to practice the SCORE protocol. And herein lies our ability to respond. Right? So without further ado, I'm going to ask you to think of a situation from your life, maybe from your recent past, where somebody said or did something that upset you. Go ahead. Just silently think of a situation, an incident in your life where somebody said or did something that upset you. For the next half hour, we're going to go through stages of experience. So just putting aside your pen, your paper, if you were taking notes, whatever else it is that you were holding on to, I just want you to visualize this incident from your life. Could be from your personal life, professional life, it doesn't matter. Most of us shouldn't have a problem. There's probably a problem of plenty, if anything, but just picking one, just throwing a dart at the board and picking whatever comes up for you. All right? Excellent. Now, if everybody has that, I'm going to run you through the SCORE steps and have you experience what happens when you go through the process. All right? So what we're going to do is actually run the incident like a video in your mind. I will guide you through the steps, and I'll keep asking you to pause and whatever at different points. All you have to do is play the video in your mind. Shall we? Excellent. So, finding a good way to sit that feels alert and relaxed, knowing that you'll hold this position for the next few minutes, making any adjustments that you wish to. To start with, bring back to mind the incident that you had thought of. where somebody said or did something that upset you. Try to visualize the setting, the person, what was said or done. Play it in your mind like a video, using your mind's eye to watch the incident. Start to play the video now from the beginning. The setting, what led to it, what did the person say or do, and just when you come to the point where you reacted, stop. Press pause in your mind. And take your awareness now to sharpen it. Sharpen your awareness now to become attentive of what state you might have been in when this incident happened. What was your inner state when this incident happened? Taking your attention now to notice your inner state when this incident happened. What was it like? Were you already in a certain way? Were you feeling relaxed and happy? Were you tense? Were you stressed? Were you busy? What was your state? Taking your attention to notice your state. Checking with yourself. Now, start from the beginning and play the video again in your mind. This time, again, when it comes to the point where you reacted, stop. And then just expand your awareness further this time to observe. Observing the situation in your mind's eye, observing other factors in your mind's eye. You've already stopped and you've already checked with your state. Now, going deeper to observe what might have been going on in that situation, what might have been going on for that person. Now, for the third time, play the video again in your mind's eye. And this time too, when it comes to the point where you reacted, stop. Press pause. You know what state you were in. You've already done the check. You've also observed. I'd now like you to reflect in your mind. Just reflect on this statement that I make without judging it to be right or wrong. Most people say or do something because they believe it will bring about a certain outcome, a good outcome according to them. So just reflecting, holding space in your mind for this statement. This person said or did what they did because they thought it would bring about a certain outcome that they believed in. Without judging them to be right or wrong, just creating space in your mind for this reflection. And then I'd like you to play the video again in your mind. But this time, just when it comes to the point where you reacted, see if there is another response that has emerged for you today. If you had another chance, what would you do? How would you engage the last step of the SCORE protocol? You don't have to do it in reality, you just have to do it in your mind. Engaging today with the benefit of stopping, checking, observing, and reflecting. And then let the video play. Imagine you engaged in this way that came up for you today. Just allowing the video to play in your mind. How would it have played out? For some of you, it's possible that you feel like responding the same way as you did the first time, and that's okay too. But today you have created space. You have paused, you've stopped, you've checked it with yourself. You've observed, reflected, and you've engaged. Just following a different process. Take your awareness now back to your breath, noticing that you're still breathing. Take a deep inhale and exhale. And one more. Gently and softly, whenever you feel ready, opening your eyes. And just coming back to being with each other, to see if you can hold the same state, even though your eyes are open, not rushing to pick up your phone or starting to engage in something, just seeing if you can just stay in the same state. Whatever is come up for you, just holding space for that, staying in that stillness. Remember, we're still working with that space between stimulus and response. Right? And there's one last ingredient that I'd like to offer you in that space. When you are in a certain state, then it affects your responses, right? If you're tense, you're upset, you're angry, then you tend to respond in certain ways. Today, I'd like to have us experience some gratitude. You know, gratitude is scientifically proven to boost your immunity, to lower your blood pressure, and just make you feel happy in general for no reason at all. You don't need a bonus, you don't need a bigger car or a bigger house. For just some strange reason, you just have a smile on your face. When you are in that state, that's the filter through which you will process your stimulus. That's the filter through which you will stabilize and then act. All right? So for the next few minutes, I'd like us to spend some time in gratitude. Again, finding a good way to sit now, which is alert and relaxed. Making a silent intention to yourself that you will hold that position for a few minutes. And if your mind wanders, you will just gently bring it back to the experience of gratitude. Start by noticing the connections with the surface beneath you. Just really starting to feel those connections, allowing the body to settle. Let's start by becoming aware of something small that you are grateful for right now. It could be the ability to breathe. It could just be the weather. It could be being here with each other. Something really small in your life right now that you are really grateful for. Bring to mind one little thing that you are grateful for, something small. As we deepen the sense of gratitude, bring to mind something about yourself that you're really grateful for. It could be your health, it could be your work, it could be some quality about yourself, something about yourself that you are really grateful for. Just deepening your sense of gratitude. And then extending your gratitude, become aware of something else that you are grateful for. Could be a person in your life, could be a pet, could be a friend. Expanding that sense of gratitude to become aware of something in your life that you are grateful for. If this feels difficult, that's all right. You can start again with something small. And now that you have a couple of things that you are grateful for, I'd invite you to see if you can experience gratitude beyond the words. So what does gratitude feel like in your body right now? Notice how this is making you feel. Is there a warmth in the chest, perhaps? Some of you might have started smiling without your knowing. Just noticing how gratitude feels at the level of the body. Perhaps your chest is opened up a little bit, your face might have turned up. Just sitting with the awareness of how gratitude makes you feel. Now, I'd like to invite you to silently repeat a few phrases after me as we extend our gratitude into wishes. So the first phrase I'd like you to repeat silently is, may I be happy. In whatever language comes up for you. May I be happy. May I be happy. The second phrase I'd like you to repeat is, may I make others happy. Silently in your mind. May I make others happy. And the third phrase I'd like you to repeat silently is, may I feel gratitude every day. May I feel gratitude every day. Taking your awareness back to the body and noticing how you are feeling. Noticing your thoughts. Noticing any emotions. Just allowing this feeling of gratitude to flow through your body, through your mind, and through your heart. Knowing that you have the power to take this into every moment of your day. Every thought, every word, every act of yours can be infused with the energy that you're experiencing right now. Take your awareness back to your breath. Perhaps taking a deep inhale and exhale. And another. And one more. Gently and softly, whenever you feel ready, opening your eyes. And again, trying to hold on to the same state that you are in, even though your eyes are open. You see, here's this thing about mindfulness. A lot of people think that mindfulness is all about sitting with your eyes closed or, standing on one leg somewhere in the Himalayas. Not at all. Mindfulness is about being aware every moment of what's going on for you over here, over here, over here. Being aware of what's happening around you, what's going on for others. Right? It's just simple, pure awareness, and then operating from that place of awareness. So not being on autopilot, but being aware. Not operating out of compulsion, but out of choice. And when we are able to do that, when we develop the skills to do that, and the good news is you don't need to go to a monastery like me, you don't need to go sit in a cave for a few years. You can develop these skills in everyday life. Because remember, you have come pre-installed with this software called awareness. And all it takes is applying that to different situations. In fact, every moment of life is an opportunity to practice awareness and mindfulness. Right? And I often say this, and I'm just going to leave you with that final thought. Meditation is not what you do. Many people think meditation, oh, I'm going to go somewhere to meditate. Sure, that's one way of meditating. But actually, meditation is a state you are in no matter what you do. You could be washing your car, you could be doing the dishes, you could be cleaning the toilet, for all it matters. And that moment offers you an opportunity to be in meditation by using your awareness. I'm really conscious that Clara's given me just about an hour. So conscious of time, I want to make sure that we have some time for you to be heard and share or even ask if there's something that you'd like to. So that's it from me in terms of the practices. We've had a short time. I tried my best, but over to you. I'd be more than happy to hand off to you, Clara, if you'd like to moderate any questions, or Andrea, if you're doing it, then yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much. I'm just in a state where I'm like, okay, Clara, go back to your script. Just like so calm and so relaxed. So yeah, we're seeing some really nice comments in the chat. So thank you, Gopi. Thank you. We want to have like a few minutes for you to ask any questions. that you might have, or as Gopi said, if you have any comments, anything that we want to share, please feel free to put it in the chat or unmute. We would love to hear your voices. I'm going to start with Ian here in the chat that says, I feel heart open right now, although don't automatically typically describe it as happiness. Is this what people call happiness? I also feel thankful and grateful for having sat with you. What would you say to that, Gopi? Is this what people call happiness?
That's a great question or perspective, actually, and thank you so much for bringing that up. I often think that people associate happiness with something external. Oh, I'm going to be happy if this person behaves a certain way, or I'm going to be happy when I get more money. I'm going to be happy when I become CEO or whatever that is. I'm going to be happy when, and as we know that when keeps moving. So moving away from that fixation that happiness is something that is a result of something that happens to you, and realizing actually that happiness is a state or a condition that you can create irrespective of what happens outside. I think that is the beautiful thing. And that when that shift happens in perspective, then you don't really need anything on the outside to make you happy. You are happy, period. Not because. Right? And then that can be a very liberating shift that happens. That you don't need to be happy because of something. You can just be happy. And you can create those conditions for happiness. And mindfulness offers so many practices. Gratitude is one of them. You'd be really surprised, perhaps. And I just love the idea that giving others joy can bring us so much of happiness. So being kind to others, compassion, can make us so happy, which is why, when you do a kind act for somebody, it's so liberating and it makes you so happy. So I love the question and the perspective that you brought about. If this is happiness, then I'm incredibly happy for you. But I would really love the idea for all of you that, happiness is not something that comes about as a result of something that happens outside, but it's a condition that you create on the inside. And there are so many little ways in which mindfulness can help you do that.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, we have another question from Rams in the chat. He says, I understand awareness and being in the moment is key, but how does one insulate him or her from thoughts when stimuli hits us?
I think the only thing that you'll get if you try to insulate yourself from thoughts is a headache. If you have a mind, it will think. That's the job of the mind. In fact, I get very worried sometimes when people say, I can't think, because that means there is no mind. The mind will do its job, which is to think. Let the mind do its job. You are different. You are separate from the mind. And of course, I run the risk of, sounding a bit metaphysical when I say this, and we have little time, so maybe I will not be able to really explain it. But being able to understand that you are not your thoughts, that thoughts can happen. They're like clouds in the sky. They pass. The mere observation that these are the thoughts that are going on slows the thoughts down. So it's quite paradoxical and ironical. The moment you give up the notion of controlling your thoughts, Rams, I think that's when control really begins. Right? So the mind is there. It's doing its job. That's fine. You do your job and just watch the mind. And the moment you watch the mind rather than trying to control it, it's incredible. The mind actually starts to behave a lot better. Right? It's like training a monkey. You don't keep beating the monkey and trying to control it. You be gentle. You be kind. You sit with it. You watch it. You make friends with it, and then it starts to behave.
Amazing. Thank you. Okay, we have another question from Lavanya. How do we navigate feelings of grief using this technique? What would the engage look like in this instance?
Yeah, that's a beautiful question, Lavanya. Thank you for asking. I think grief is probably one of the most powerful emotions that we as human beings experience. And personally, I feel like it's part of the human experience. So grief is not something one should avoid. Um, I think sitting with grief, experiencing it, is actually part of deepening one's human condition. How do we deal with grief? How do we navigate grief? I think it first starts with acceptance, acknowledging and accepting that it's okay. It's normal, it's human, in fact, it's beautiful. So just sitting with it is a powerful beginning to how we navigate. Being aware of the kind of thoughts that arise, being aware of the emotions that arise, and being aware of any actions that we might end up also taking in that state of grief. There's a very beautiful a philosophy that comes from someone called Kubler-Ross. Some of you might have heard of it. Dr. Elizabeth Kubler-Ross was a medical practitioner who worked with terminally ill patients over years. And after observing thousands of terminally ill patients, she came up with a theory in terms of how we deal with those situations. And there's a lot of work around this. We typically go into shock. We deny, oh, this can't be happening. But then we sit with it. We accept it. We sit with it. And then something beautiful starts to happen. With that acceptance, we start to integrate with life. And then we come out of it. So it's almost like a valley of tears that we go through, and then we come out of it. So avoiding grief, not at all something I'm in favor of. Denying, avoiding, no. Accepting, acknowledging, sitting with it, embracing it, in fact, is for me the way of being more human. And as we do that, there's actually a powerful opportunity for transformation. Right? Grief also has the power to bring out kindness, to bring out compassion, to bring out empathy, and to transform us. So just using the same protocol, pretty much, stopping, checking with ourselves. What does grief look like for me? What's it in my body? Right? Observing what kind of thoughts, what kind of emotions are present, observing others in that moment of grief, reflecting on grief itself, what is causing it in this moment, and then using all of that to engage with wisdom. I think there's something beautiful and powerful there. I could go on about this, Lavanya, but in the interest of time, I will pause here. But I hope that made even a little sense to you somewhere. Thank you for asking.
Thank you, Gopi. That was beautiful. And yes, unfortunately, we're getting to the end of our time together. I want to say just, Gopi, thank you so much. This has been like beautiful, enlightening, helpful, so many things. And you can see so many beautiful things in the chats being said, for you. What I think one of my biggest takeaway from today is that mindfulness is a practice, right? Like, it's not somewhere that you need to get to, right? It's something that we practice every single day, and that we can come back again and again. It's about practicing. Everyone else, thank you so much for being here, for showing up, for practicing, for staying here with us. It was lovely to see you. We're going to be sharing, we're going to be sending by email some resources for you, the recording as well, so you can revisit this beautiful teachings. And yeah, it was beautiful to spend some time with you. Thank you so much. We hope to see you very soon, and we hope you have a great rest of your day, evening, afternoon, wherever you are in the world. So thank you so much. Bye for now, and we'll see you next time.